And now I know the wives don't feel the same way. We grew up in Coney Island, most of them didn't, and they kind of felt that when we talk about growing up Brooklyn, growing up Coney Island, that we think we were in Shangri-La or something like that. My friend Andy's wife had mentioned that when we talk about it, it sounds like Shangri-La, but for us it was. We didn't know any better. So your friends were your friends. You got up early in the morning during the summer at 8 o'clock. You went out, and you didn't come home until the sun went down. Hi, I'm Fred. I'm 78 years old and one half of the oldest brother duo podcasting today. I've owned amusement rides in Coney Island. I spent 25 years on Wall Street.
And I'm Phil. I'm 86 years old. I'm the other half of the duo. I was in the amusement business. I ran some of it. I drove trucks. I served as an NYPD officer. I own a restoration company and a construction company.
Hey, brother, you're back again.
Hey,
My man.
thanks for giving me your chair. It's more comfortable than that chair I had yesterday.
Well, notice I didn't give it to you until you asked.
But I appreciate that I'm sitting in a nice soft chair.
Well, I'm glad you appreciate that, brother. I'm just doing a little maintenance here, so.
Well, I am 8 years older than you, so
Yeah, you are older.
yeah.
Well, let's start off with my pet peeve of the week.
What would that be?
Well, I bought a new TV with a new remote, and you would think that the TV that came or the remote that came with the TV would work. And it does to a point, but it doesn't turn on my cable box. So I have to have two controls. And then the cable box doesn't run the audio. So if I want to raise the audio, I got to move everything around, and then if you want to put on the audio sound box that they give you, you need a separate remote for that. So you end up with three remotes: the cable system, the sound system, the TV system. You press the button and the sound goes up on the neighbor's stereo instead of mine.
Well, there's a way to fix it.
Is there?
Oh yeah, I just bought a new TV, one remote control. I don't have the cable box. I don't have anything to worry about. I got one control. See? Makes it simple. But then I don't have what you have.
Well, I was trying to put the news on, so I hit input, and suddenly I'm in HDMI 3, whatever the heck that is, then AV2.
I get that sometimes.
So yours doesn't work flawlessly either.
Well, it's not the.
Then I get no signal. Well, how can I have no signal? I got 14 different inputs.
I think it's because it's. I don't know. It's the signals. I do have that problem
Yeah,
once in a while.
wou-
Not all the time.
wouldn't you think that, like, if you want to try to find channel 7, you wouldn't end up like on the NASA channel or something like that?
Well, you know what I find sometimes I'm watching a movie or something, and then all of a sudden it stops and it spins.
Well,
Now,
that's the internet telling you don't have enough of bandwidth.
well, but I increased it. What am I going to increase it to? It's one television.
Mhm.
I don't know where to increase it to.
And then you get the days where you press the button on one of those three remotes and you shake it and you hit it and you take the batteries out and put it back in, and then you yell at me,
Well,
try the batteries.
well, because they do go dead, but not that quick. But I have not as many problems as you have because I don't have all that stuff hooked up to my television,
Mm.
but I do have some problems. And I'm not an engineer, so for me it's hard to work it out.
But the last time you told me to put batteries in, my TV got stuck on Spanish. So I couldn't get any English anymore.
Well, that's your fault. You should know Spanish by
Yeah,
now.
well, yeah, you're right. You turn the volume up and it still doesn't move. Then you mute it, and then suddenly it's blasting like a jet engine.
Yeah.
You you turn it off, put it back on. Then you don't know which remote to use. Is that the TV one? Is that the other one?
Well, you know what's good about this? You're not the only one that it happens to. I guarantee you it happens to a lot of people.
Especially us citizens. Once again, conspiracy against us. They're trying to abuse the adults. Then I finally bought a remote that's universal. It runs everything. You run your TV, you run this, you run that. I spent about an hour and a half programming it. I turn it on, and the only thing that went on was my ceiling fan, which is good because I can never get the ceiling fan remote to work. So now at least I have the ceiling fan running
Is
now.
that the one you were using last night?
Yeah,
But it took us a half hour to watch a movie.
it's better than nothing. At least you get to watch it.
Well, it took a while.
And then the worst of all is when you want to sit down and watch some television, you look for your remote. And if you have an animal in the house, a dog or a cat, they seem to move them quite a bit. If not, someone comes in the house and moves them on us. And
We had a lot of people here yesterday, so
yeah,
and the kids. I think one of the kids took it and was playing with it, and that's why we couldn't
yeah,
find it.
probably. And then
But we found it.
yeah, but I was going to use the app to find it, but you need the app on the phone for the app on the
Yeah,
yeah. So that didn't work either. But
we found it after.
yeah, but anyway, pet peeve of the day, kind of done. But if anyone else has those same issues, please contact us. We'd love to hear your story. And also, if you have a good Coney Island story, a good Brooklyn story, we'd love to hear those too. So, just drop us a message and we'd love to answer some of those questions. We got a few this week. The guy remembers the house that we lived in and had some questions. And
Yeah, we are getting a lot of
yeah,
questions.
we're getting a lot more questions than we used
And
to
a
get.
couple of them even challenged us on the names.
Yeah, no,
That was good.
I thought that was pretty interesting.
That
Yeah,
was good.
yeah. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to put on a little video here about what the podcast is about this week. This is the Forever Crew, and well, let me play it, then you'll see.
The Forever Crew. You know, there's something special about the people who were there from the beginning. The ones who rode bikes with you, scraped their knees with you, got in trouble with you, and somehow never left your side. You grow up, life changes, jobs come and go, families grow, the world spins faster. But those friendships, they settle in, they mature, they become part of your foundation. The faces change, the hair thins, the stories get longer, and the details get fuzzier. But the bond, that stays sharp. Because the people you grew up with didn't just witness your life, they helped shape it. They knew you before the titles, before the responsibilities, before the weight of adulthood. They knew the kid version of you, and they still choose to know the grown version. That's the Forever Crew. The ones who show up, the ones who remember, the ones who laugh with you like you're still 12 years old. Friendship doesn't fade, not when it's built on years, on loyalty, on shared history. It just gets deeper. It gets richer. It becomes one of the greatest gifts you carry through your life.
Well, I know that a lot of people that are not from New York or Brooklyn or like we were, I don't know how their friendships ended up, but I know I still have a core of friends that I grew up with that I'm friends with till today. Matter of fact, yesterday we had one of them on our podcast.
Andy.
Yeah, Andy was on, and he has some real good stories, things that I had forgotten about. And Andy was always a very good storyteller, but he remembered things in detail that I probably don't remember as well as him. Um, I know that you had a few friends growing up that you're still in contact with.
Well, they're still alive. That's the other thing. One of my
That makes it easy being in contact
yeah,
with too.
one of my best friends, Michael. We grew up together, went to school together, grammar school, high school, went in business together. We were in several businesses together, upholstery business, furniture business, restaurant business. We did a lot together. Until today was he comes down to Florida 3 months a year, and we get together as much as possible as when he's here. His wife just passed away recently, a year and a half ago, and but Michael's strong and he's good and working hard and doing things. He's playing that pickleball and he joined the Knights of Columbus to keep busy. So he's doing good. He's doing good, and I like to get him onto the podcast.
Well, let's look at it maybe this week or
Yeah,
next week. We
yeah,
can
we'll
do
talk
that.
to him. I did speak to him already, and he's anxious to do it if when we're ready to have him do it. You can't buy friends like that. We've been friends since we're 6, 7 years old, I guess, and we're still friends till today.
You know, one thing that I say a lot, and it's probably not 100% true, but getting out of the neighborhood, there really weren't too many options at the time. There was the good option. You got married and found a job. Either as a, I mean, most of the guys in the neighborhood either became a sanitation worker or a police officer or a fireman, kind of city job. A few went into businesses and things like that. The other way was,
A few went to prison.
yeah, the other way was they became criminals and didn't get out of the neighborhood and ended up in prison or worse. Um, and the third way was you didn't make it.
Some people didn't make it, and it was, I think, some of the people that I knew at the time, laziness sets in. You don't want to accomplish a lot of things, and so you're not successful. And successful is not only making money. Successful is having yourself acknowledging that I did the best I can and I'm going to do the best I can and keep working at it. That to me is that's money. Not money you can spend, but it's in your head. You did the best you can and you are where you are.
Well, I think one of the things that were important is the friends that we did make at that time became lifelong friends.
Yep.
Unlike work friends, and I'm not saying a work friend can't become a good friend, but they didn't grow up with you. They didn't see how you were raised. They weren't part of helping you become who you were. And I think that was really important, especially for us, poor neighborhood. We weren't rich with dollars, but we were rich with our beliefs and our family. But finding someone that you can identify with and grow up with that had the same values as you and your family, it just made it interesting. Like I said, my friend Andrew, my friend Charlie, who has passed, my friend Joey. These are guys that except for Charlie, I keep in touch with, and a few others. And there's one or two from work that I still keep up with. It's 18 years I'm retired, but it's not the same. You don't have those same memories. You have the new memories. But I think it was important that you maintain that relationship with your friends. You never lost who you were.
And I agree. And I was fortunate enough to make friends with somebody 15 years ago down here. And we're like brothers.
Mm.
Not the same as you and I, we're blood brothers. But Bill is my brother, and I would do anything for him, and he would do anything for me.
Your brother from another mother.
That's it. And that's what he says all the time. But we just bonded from the first time we met, and we do a lot of things together all the time. In fact, we talk 3, 4 times a day and about the stock market and about other things, and we go to each other's house every day, not every day, but 2 or 3 times a week. So, and he was, I didn't know him as a young guy. We didn't meet until we went down here 15 years ago. But in those 15 years, we made a big bond, and we're together like a brother of a different mother, but we're brothers.
Well, it could be the same father. They're definitely different mothers. But it's so important to go back and realize that I believe I had the greatest experience growing up. And now I know the wives don't feel the same way. We grew up in Coney Island, most of them didn't. And they kind of felt that when we talk about growing up Brooklyn, growing up Coney Island, that we think we were in Shangri-La or something like that. My friend Andy's wife had mentioned that when we talk about it, it sounds like Shangri-La, but for us it was. We didn't know any better. So your friends were your friends. You got up early in the morning during the summer at 8 o'clock. You went out, and you didn't come home until the sun went down. You were with your friends. You experimented. You did things. You built things. It was just a different age. There were no video games to play or anything like that. You got a sponge ball or a pinky or a Spalding, and you played the games. and it just made it simple. Why don't you talk a little bit about Mikey's?
Well, yeah, Michael graduated high school. We went to college for maybe about a year or so. But we went into business. He was in the upholstery business. Then we went in that together. We also were in the import business, but this was back in 1960, 61. We sent out letters, got stuff from all over the world, but neither one of us had any money to do advertising. And back then, you had to advertise in a newspaper. You didn't have no television, none of that stuff
I
to
definitely
do
didn't
it,
have the internet.
and no internet. So, we tried it for about 6, 7 months, and we couldn't raise any money to buy the stuff to produce to get it out to the people. So we decided that we couldn't do that business anymore. So we went into the furniture business.
Some transition.
Oh yeah, up on Kings Highway in Brooklyn. We were there for a
What
few
kind of furniture?
bedroom furniture, dinette sets, yeah, stuff like that. We were there a few years, and we even expanded. We opened the store up the next to us. We put an arch in there so people can go back and forth. And then after a few years, that didn't work out. Costs went up even back then, and we couldn't afford it. And we wound up closing that store up. And then Michael went into the fruit business. His uncle had passed away, he owned a fruit store, and Michael took over the fruit store, and he was good. He made a lot of money there, but he put most of it away. Him and his wife saved all the money so Michael can go back to school to become a physician assistant. And that's what he did. He became a physician assistant. But while in that transition, we also opened up a, a restaurant in Coney Island. It was called the Hubba Hubba. And we were there for a few years doing that until they took all the buildings down in Coney Island because they were going to build all these new buildings. And the city ran out of money back in 1975, I think. So everything, all the construction stopped. So needless to say, so did our business stop. And we wind up selling the store to somebody who opened up a bodega. And Michael went on to become a physician assistant, did 20 something years, and he retired from there. And he's been retired now for 20 something years, I think it is.
Yeah, and he's a great pickleball player.
Yeah, he does pickleball. He's with the Knights of Columbus. They just promoted him, as a matter of fact. I spoke to him the other day, and he just got promoted to like a captain in the service would be. And I don't know nothing about the Knights of Columbus, so I don't know what that means. But he's enjoying it. It's giving him a lot of things to do. And Michael's 87. He's 6 months older than me, and he wouldn't know it. He keeps moving along.
And you know, I give you a little background on Andy. Andy went to work for AT&T. He was an installer up on Broadway and used to do all the theaters and put phones in and take phones out. Then he left AT&T, worked for a company that sold the cable and wiring for the internet and things like that. And he still works a couple of days a week and does that. And he has a big charity that he started and supports. So, he's gone full circle and he's giving back. And my friend Joey worked for the Transit Authority. He was a Navy vet, served in Vietnam, went to work for the Transit Authority, returned, we retired from there. He had an automobile used car lot. They used to sell cars and stuff. And Joey's still around. I speak to him probably once a month and see how things are going. When I lived in Brooklyn, we used to go out 2 or 3 times a year with the wives. And that's why the wives always say, we've heard all these stories before. And we don't care. We're going to talk about them anyway. But it's good to see that the people that were raised with you succeeded like you did. And you never lost that friendship. You always kept in touch, and I know Joey and Andy would do whatever they could for me, without a doubt.
Yeah, yeah,
And I know Mikey feels the same way.
absolutely. And our cousin Tommy, who just passed away, was another one that over the years we did so many things together. We never lost that relationship. It was more than being a cousin. It was the business relationship, going out together, the wives together. It was different. It was different.
And I think that's something worth talking about at this point is family was very important to us, our family.
Yes.
My cousins were like brothers and sisters to us. So the cousins that you grew up with close became your friends. I mean, I was my cousin Richie's best man. We were in business together. So that was another inspiration in your life is Richie became a teacher and then became a vice principal of a school. So
Yeah.
once again, it's somebody that you knew if you called, they'd be there in a minute. And we can't lose track of the family friends that we had and we grew up with.
No.
I think, Tommy is a good example.
Uncle Frank,
You know,
businesses. And it's just,
cousin Freddie.
yeah.
Yeah, it was great growing up like that. We cousins were in our case we had cousins that lived upstairs from us. So we had Tommy and Jerry. They lived upstairs, and Jerry was a little bit older than me, but we always got along. We always talked. But it was nice to have the family close. I mean, there wasn't a weekend that went by, or sometimes not a weeknight that went by without having somebody come over. One of the uncles come over, one of the cousins come over. It was really close. Without a doubt, there wasn't a holiday that went by without you being with your family and your cousins. That wasn't ever going to happen in our family. My mother would never let that happen.
Absolutely.
And being it was your mother too, I guess she wasn't letting that happen with you either. No. And it was kind of, but at the time, as you got a little bit older, it was like annoying. Oh, I got to be there. But when I look back, that was probably some of the most special time that we spent with our family. All great relatives and always there with their hand out to help. And it was exciting. It was an exciting time. It was. Then friends, like I said, you meet business friends along the way. It's not the same. They're friends, but it's not the same as growing up together. I assume you worked with a lot of guys in your
I'm
shops.
still friends with some of them. Actually, one of them just passed away in the last 3 weeks. Heartbreaking, but my partner he died in 1985, and that was really, that hurt me.
Well, you were like brothers, you two. I mean,
Huh.
not
We were,
you were yin and yang. I mean, you
yeah,
were
and
attached at the hip.
and I think about him every day.
Mm.
I think about him since 1985. I never lost a day I don't think about him. But
Yeah,
it's the way it is.
he was a good guy. He
Yeah.
was a funny guy.
Yeah.
I remember the incident with Uncle Pete. I won't say what happened, but our Uncle Pete said to my brother after an incident, he says, I'm going to tell your mother, Carla. Carla said, your mother? He's going to tell your mother.
Well, he knew mommy ran the show.
Yeah, she was the matriarch of our family.
Yeah.
And here's something also. I'm going to show you both arms.
No, no,
Yeah.
no.
Neither one of us have tattoos. And it's not that we wanted them, but
Well, I did it one time.
yeah, at one time I guess we all thought about it. But our mother said, not getting a tattoo.
We never got.
And for some reason, we never got them. Even though our father had one, she said, "What? That had nothing to do with it. You weren't getting a tattoo, and we never got them." Which is, just once again the upbringing and the character of our parents. But I know we got a little bit off with friendship, but I don't think any of my friends ever had them. I don't think Andy or Joey.
Carlo had tattoos.
Yeah.
And we were going to go get a tattoo here in Miami. A plane flew over, Tattoo Joe's or whatever it was. I don't remember. So he says, come on, I'm going to go get another tattoo. He said, why don't you get one? I said, all right, yeah, that's a good idea. I'm going to get one. So we get in the car and we're driving over to this Tattoo Joe's or whoever it was. And on the way there, I said, Carlo, I'm not going to get a tattoo. He said, why? I said, my mother will kill me. He says, you're 36 years old. She'll kill me anyway. No, I'm not getting this.
It didn't make a difference.
No.
That was for sure. Well, We're gonna bring this one to an end, if that's okay, brother.
Yeah, I think it's long enough.
Well, long enough for you. What I want and ask for is if you've watched us this far, please give us a like. Please subscribe. We do have some merchandise. We have some T-shirts out there. I'll put a link to the shirts. And thank you for watching. And if you're not watching, thank you anyway. I love you, brother.
Love you too.
I like it.
All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us on Growing Up Brooklyn, all right? If you like the show, do me a favor. Give us a thumbs up, hit that subscribe, and drop a comment. We love hearing from you. And hey, check out the merch. We got Growing Up Brooklyn t-shirts, tote bags, all kinds of stuff. You'll find the link right down there in the description. All right. Thanks again for hanging with us. We'll catch you next time. Growing Up Brooklyn.